So congratulations, you have a great candidate. The managing partner is excited, the practice group leader is excited, even the potential lateral seems excited. Everything looks great. What could possibly go wrong? Well, as if on cue, the candidate sends you an email saying that he or she has accepted another offer, and you find out through the candidate's headhunter that the candidate said you just didn't seem very interested because it took too long to hear back from your firm. That's just one scenario I've observed of how, if we had known this outcome was going to occur in the first place, then my law firm client would have jumped through the hoops more expeditiously. So let's look at moving candidates through the process and identify possible negative outcomes. So identify why they occur and see if we can reverse engineer solutions in our process so we don't have all those bad things happen to us. So think in terms of choke points. What are the choke points in your firm's process? From my experience, there are three of them if you look at a firm's lateral recruiting process. The first is the interview itself, meaning that your partners are interviewing a candidate and they're not doing it in an effective way, and it causes a candidate to hesitate, and it causes a candidate to say, I'm not sure if I want to go forward. Second is the LPQ, the Lateral Partner Questionnaire. We'll cover ideas for solving this problem in another course. And third is execution, getting things done, moving the candidate from one step to another. So let's talk a little bit more about execution. This is one of those variables that you, the quarterback or the influencer, can presumably make an impact in. First, set up expectations between the recruiter, the headhunter that is representing your candidate. Talk about, in the beginning of your process, what that process is, but don't count on your recruiter remembering it and even conveying it to the candidate. Many times they're dealing with a lot of law firms. But when you meet with the candidate, suppose that at the end of that first meeting, it may be good to spend 1 minute discussing how things progress with your prospective lateral. We appreciate you taking the time to come and meet with us. Just to let you know that if you're interested, and if there is mutual interest, here is a summary of our process. You may even want to have a paper document, maybe even printed on nice cardstock with your firm's logo on it, that talks about the steps the candidate must go through. Consider hiring a graphic designer or even getting your marketing department to give you a graphic and color overview of your process in a visual format, something that makes it easy for these prospective laterals to look at and understand quickly what your process is. Now, we're not talking about details, just the general overview. Secondly, when you discuss your process, talk about the timing associated with those steps, just so the candidate has an idea of how things might play out and when they might play out. This is helpful if they have a new client or they're onboarding a new matter or they have a need to schedule a trial or even considering when they'll receive their bonus. Tip number 3, as you move the candidate through the process, it's important to keep momentum. Momentum is key. If it stalls, it's harder to get that deal back on track. Tip number 4, at key inflection points of your process, such as after each significant meeting, ask this question to your potential hire. If there were anything that you see or can think of at this point that would cause our dialogue to end, what do you think it would be? Now, you've got to have the right kind of rapport. Maybe you might not be able to get that information. Maybe the headhunter that's bringing your candidate to you can get that information for you. That could give you keen insight into potential complicators of your potential placement, and you can find out early so that they don't become problems later on. Tip number 5, each time you have a placement fall apart, and I know it happens, and you feel you had a realistic shot at closing that, at bringing that across the finish line, I'd recommend doing an autopsy on the experience. Ask yourself this question: what could I have done differently had I known it would have turned out this way? What would have given me better odds of getting this attorney hired within my firm? This will give you significant insight and data and even wisdom that will help you hire better attorneys more effectively and efficiently over time.